Chapter 11. To commence thus, Catullus, by taking an example from our friend Sculpicius, here I first heard him when he was but a youth in a cause of small importance. He was possessed of a voice, figure, deportment, and other qualifications suited for the profession which we are considering. His mode of speaking was quick and hurried, which was owing to his genius, his style animated and somewhat too redundant, which was owing to his youth. I was very far from entertaining a slight opinion of him, since I like fertility to show itself in a young man, for, as in vines, those branches which have spread too luxuriantly are more easily pruned than new shoots are produced by culture if the stem is defective. So I would wish there to be that in a youth from which I may take something away. The sap cannot be enduring in that which attains maturity too soon. I immediately saw his ability, nor did I lose any time, but exhorted him to consider the forum as his school for improving himself, and to choose whom he pleased for a master. If he would take my advice, Lucius Crassus. To this advice he eagerly listened, and assured me that he would act accordingly, and added also as a compliment that I too should be a master to him. Scarce a year had passed from the time of this conversation and recommendation of mine when he accused Caius Norbanus, and I defended him. It is incredible what a difference there appeared to me between him as he was then and as he had been a year before. Nature herself led him irresistibly into the magnificent noble style of Crassus, but he could never arrive at a satisfactory degree of excellence in it if he had not directed his efforts by study and imitation in the same course in which nature led him, so as intently to contemplate Crassus with his whole mind and faculties. 12. Let this then be the first of my precepts, to point out to the student whom he should imitate, and in such a manner that he may most carefully copy the chief excellences of him whom he takes for his model. Let practice then follow, by which he may represent in his imitation the exact resemblance of him whom he chose at his pattern, nor as I have known many imitators do, who endeavor to acquire by imitation what is easy, or what is remarkable or almost faulty, for nothing is easier than to imitate any person's dress or attitude or carriage, or if there is anything offensive in a character, it is no very difficult matter to adopt it, and be offensive in the same way. In like manner as that Fusius, who even now, though he has lost his voice, rants on public topics, could never attain the nervous style of speaking which Caius Fimbra had, though he succeeds in imitating his distortion of features and broad pronunciation. But he neither knew how to choose a pattern whom he would chiefly resemble, and in him that he did choose, he preferred copying the blemishes. But he who shall act as he ought must first of all be very careful in making this choice, and must use the utmost diligence to attain the chief excellencies of him whom he has approved. What, let me ask, do you conceive to be the reason why almost every age has produced a peculiar style of speaking, a matter of which we cannot so easily form a judgment in regard to the orators of our own country, because they have, to say the truth, left but few writings from which such judgment might be formed, as those of the Greeks, from whose writings it may be understood what was the character and tendency of eloquence in each particular age. The most ancient of whom there are any works extant are Pericles and Alcibades, and in the same age Thucydides, writers perspicacious, pointed, concise, abounding more in the thoughts than in words. It could not possibly have happened that they should all have the same character unless they have proposed to themselves some one example for imitation. These were followed in order of time by Critias, Thermomenes, and Lysias. There are extant many writings of Lysias, some of Critias, of Thermomenes we only hear. They are still retained. They all still retained the vigorous style of Pericles, but had somewhat more exuberance. Then behold, Isocrates arose, from whose school As from the Trojan horse, none but real heroes proceeded. But some of them were desirous to be distinguished on parade, some in the field of battle.